just interrupting my self-promotion out here. Anyways, glad to be here, and I must tell you of two failed negotiations before I start. I was speaking to the organizers, I think 4 months ago, and they were talking about me holding a workshop here. And typically when I teach negotiations, I run a 2 or 3 day program to do justice to this subject. And I said to the organizer that I need at least 4 hours. And the organizer says, yes, don't worry about it. And then a month ago, I said, dude, what's the deal out here? He says, you'll get around 2.5 hours of airtime. I said, great, maybe I can fit in a simulation. And lo and behold, a week ago, I figured out that I had to compress my entire session out to 45 minutes. Right? And he was my ex-student, by the way, and I taught him the principle of commitment. Step in the, right? So if you want someone to say yes, just agree on some small wins, get the person in your fold, and then you start making concession, because after the foot in the door, it is very difficult for someone to come out after making some small investments. So anyways, I have to tell you about the second failed negotiation as well. And I must tell you what brought me to India. I'm a Singaporean by virtue of birth. I'm born and raised in Singapore. So you'll find this English accent in me as well as I speak to you. So a lot of my friends ask me, what brought you to India? And here's the disclaimer to all of you, especially guys out here. What brought me to India was nothing but a failed negotiation between me and my wife. That's it. Right? So, I can teach you rocket science over the next 45 minutes, but all guys out here, if you think you're going to get some tips from me in how you can better negotiate with your spouse, I'm not the right person, because I'm still figuring that piece out. Right? Anyways, I still remember when I received this invite to join a startup in India, the Indian School of Business right now. It was a startup at that point. My wife got very excited because she's from India, and after we got married, we moved back to Singapore. And this was the perfect opportunity for her to legitimize our move back to India, right? It's for your career. So I asked my wife, why should I be excited about this startup? I was on my way to some top schools in Northern America, that's where the action is. And she tells me, it's good for your career. She kept on, persisting, she kept on negotiating throughout, kept on pushing. And I told her that, look, we are friends out here. I don't impose my decisions on you, and neither should you. You've given me some advice, I've taken that advice, and here's my decision, we are not going to India. My wife backpedaled, and I thought I won over the negotiation, but my joy only lasted for 2 days. 2 days later, my father calls me up in his room, and he asked me, hey son, what is this ISB, the Indian School of Business, right, where I had received this invite. And when the request came from my father, I just could not turn him down. Well, guess who the culprit was, right? So I think that's the first lesson for us as entrepreneurs, as negotiators. A lot of us think that we need to be powerful to be good negotiators. I need to be powerful. I gave my wife very little power to decide on my career. Yet she had the last laugh. She got what she wanted, isn't it? Now you guys think about it. What did my wife do right to get things walking in her direction? So the first myth that I would like to debunk right now is that you don't need to be powerful to be a good negotiator. So what did my wife do right? She identified the right ally, isn't it? So the first lesson for us is, as skillful negotiators, as skillful leaders, you don't do the talking 70% of the times. 70% of the times, others should be doing the talking on your behalf. When other people make the pitch on your behalf, when other people, speaks on your behalf, there's more credibility, right, in the request here. I'm talking about the principle of lateral influence. I'll give you a very simple example. In my house at least, I'm a very conservative father. And I used to tell my daughter when she became a young adult and she entered her teens, and I said, you know what, I have curfew period for you. I want you to be back at home at 10 p.m. I don't care. Now she started arguing with me. She says, Dad, I'm a young adult. I can decide what I want to do. These curfew rules are not applicable to me. So we had a lot of fight, and I told her, look, this is my house, my way or highway. Be back home at 10 p.m. sharp. Now she then realizes that this stems from love and affection because I'm worried about her safety outside 10 p.m. da da da. So she abides to my rule and she's back home at 10 p.m. every day. She's happy, I'm happy. One day, her best friend is throwing a birthday party. Guess what time this party starts? 10 p.m. It ends at 3 a.m. in the morning. She wants daddy's official permission. When she's a young adult, she doesn't need, but she needs she wants me to say yes. Would she directly speak to me? No, what would she do? She's a smart daughter, isn't it? She'll speak to mommy, isn't it? And she'll tell mommy, hey mom, you know what, my best friend, Shwecha, she's throwing her birthday party, and do you think I should be attending this party? And mom says, of course you should go. Now if you think I should be going, why don't you speak to dad? Now think about this. Mom speaking to dad vis-a-vis daughter making the same pitch. The receptivity will be very different, isn't it? Let others do the talking on your behalf. Please remember, chances of getting to yes is much more higher when you do the talking. And when you choose your influences, they should be at the same level. I'm talking about lateral influence out here. Now, why do I mean? Why should you choose someone at the same level? Because this is how the human mind is hardwired. If someone at my level feels that this is a good idea, default setting, I also feel this is a good idea, and then I start thinking about it. We like to be consistent with our environment. That's how the human mind works. I'll give you a simple example. I'm raising funds for the old folks home, and I approach you for donation, and I come to you with a donation card, and I say, hey sir, can you donate some amount to the old folks home? Now what is the likelihood that he'll donate? 50-50, isn't it? Now scenario number 2, I'm approaching him with this donation card now, but in this donation card, I've got names of 7 of his buddies who have pledged 1,000 rupees apiece. Wouldn't his motivation be higher in the second scenario? He will not only pledge, but he'll want to match 1,000 rupees, isn't it? Now, what does this tell us about human behavior? We like to be consistent with our environment. Think about your own behavior. We watch comedy serials once in a while. In India, I can think about the Kapil Sharma show, for example. Now, in this comedy slapstick, this comedy show that lasts for half an hour, how many jokes will this guy crack? Maybe 20? How many jokes from this 20 actually tickled you? Maybe 2? How many times you end up laughing? 20 times? Why did you laugh 20 times when only 2 jokes tickled you? Because of the canned laughter in the environment. If others are laughing, default option, I also want to laugh. And then I start scratching my head. Why did I laugh like a moron? When this joke didn't tickle me, right? So to be a good negotiator, the point I'm trying to say here is, to be a good negotiator, you need to understand human psychology. You cannot study negotiation unless and until you bring in psychology, you bring in economics, you bring in philosophy, right? So all these examples which I'm talking about just talks about vulnerability that we have as human beings, as negotiators, and you want to exploit these vulnerabilities when you are negotiating. I'll give you an example of another vulnerability here. How many of us in this room smoke? Please raise your hands, those who smoke. Yeah? Those who smoke, this evening you have a meeting with a new customer called Dishan Kamdar. Scenario 1, I happen to be a non-smoker. When we meet each other, what do? We exchange pleasantries, we try to build rapport, and then we start negotiating, isn't it? So we exchange pleasantries, we build rapport, then we start negotiating. That's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, I happen to be a smoker. Before we start negotiating, we smoke a cigarette together. Now you guys tell me, what is the impact of smoking together on the negotiation process? Positive or very positive? Now what have we done actually? Exchanging fumes, isn't it? You take my fumes, I take your fumes. What else have we done? By now exchanging fumes, we are long lost brothers. Before smoking together, my mindset is, I want to take as much as I can from you. After smoking together, what's my mindset now? Let's work together. Let's help each other here, right? So the second learning is all of us should start smoking. I'm just joking here, all right? I'm talking about the similarity attraction principle. We as human beings, we gravitate towards others who are similar to us. We like others who like us and who are like us. We like others who like us, who admire us, who schmooze us. We love them. We also like others who are like us, who are similar to us. All right. So smoking is just an example I used here. All right. But to my friends here, you have a client who's coming from Kolkata. Should you meet the client or should you send someone who can speak the Bengali language, for example? I have a client coming from China. Should I meet the client or send a colleague who can speak the Mandarin language? Speaking the same language makes a big difference as well. Principle of similarity. So when we study negotiations, yes, numbers are there, finance is there, but somehow your ability to clinch a good deal is very much a function of your ability to understand human behavior and human psychology. All right? Trust is a very important principle. Relationships, very, very important. Okay? So, I'm going to give you 5 learnings in this 45 minutes of engagement that I have. The first takeaway for us is, let others do the talking on your behalf. You don't do the talking 70% of the time. There's more credibility. Because we as human beings, we want to be consistent with the environment. So if you are the head of procurement, if I want you to say yes to me, I've got 2 options. One is charm you till you say yes, or charm someone else within your company who's easier to pacify and says, hey, you know what, if you really want me, speak to your head of procurement. Let the pressure come from within. When the pressure comes from within, it's easier for them to say yes than the pressure coming from outside. Principle of similarity, lateral influence. Okay, so that's our first learning here. The second learning revolves around us understanding where do we get our power from. A lot of entrepreneurs tell me, hey, you know what, I get butterflies in my stomach before I enter the meeting. I have anxiety pangs when I meet, my suppliers. I get anxiety pangs when I'm hiring. I get anxiety pangs when I'm looking for people who are funding. Now, I always tell them, look, there is a way for you to remove your anxiety pangs as entrepreneur. You can be powerful if you want. You can be as powerful as those folks representing Reliance in India. So the next question is, where do I get my power from as a negotiator? And I want to talk about the importance of preparation. Most of us don't do well because we do not prepare enough. Most of us, do not end up getting good deals, not because we are incompetent. All of us are competent, but you don't spend enough time planning. A good negotiator spends at least 80% of his or her time planning for the negotiation. At least 80% planning. And once you spend 80% of your time planning, then you don't need to spend more than 20% at the table. But we do the reverse. We plan for 10% of the time. We plan for 20% of the time, and we spend 80% haggling left, right, and center, isn't it? That's the problem if you ask me. If you plan well, you can become very powerful. And when you plan, in my view, you just need to plan for 2 pieces of data. So here's my next question. Where would a negotiator derive his or her power from? Anyone could just raise your hands and just shout it loud. Where do I get my power from? Exam question, 5 marks. Yes, please. Just shout it. My motivation, my personal motivation gives me power. That's the first point. What else? Yes, please. Information gives me power. Number 2. It's a 5-marker question. I need 5 points. Yes. My past experience gives me power. Great. Sorry? My rapport, my relationship gives me power. Point number 4. Last point. My branding gives me power. Amazing. Okay, one more point. My followers? My followers gives me power. Great point. My wife gives me power. She's sitting next to you, I guess. No? She's not here? Okay. I'm not too sure whether my wife gives me power. I don't know. Yeah. All right. Yes, please. Knowledge of the opponent. We've got 8 points so far, but let me tell you very honestly, these are all bullcrap answers. Yes. My health. Health of the company. My physical health. That was towards me, by the way. I promise to exercise from today, I swear. Right. What else? Yes, please. Understanding my opposition. So he's saying, don't talk, just silence. Silence is intimidating. I get power from exhibiting silence. You just reminded me of my wife during our fights. All right? So, see, this is the mythical world. I'll just take someone else, raise their hands over. Yes, please. My confidence. We've got 10 points so far, and I'm happy to inform you that all your 10 answers are wrong. This is the mythical world in which we live. And we think all this, some of you would say my network gives me power. Some of you say my net worth gives me power. Some of them will say my network gives me power. Some of you will say my branding gives me power. This is taught in an MBA school. I'm going to take all my professors head on right now. Yes. My mindset gives me power. Level of preparation. But what do we need? Yes, please. Sorry? My word is my power. Okay. We've got almost 15 answers so far. I just take one last before I give you the answer. None. Okay, one last. Yes. Bingo! Let's give him a big round of applause. All right? Please remember, your power comes only and only from one primary source. And that primary source is my ability to say no. If I can say no to you, I'm powerful. If I cannot say no to you, I'm not powerful, isn't it? It's as simple as that. And when can I say no to you? When I can walk away. And when can I walk away? When I have alternatives, a plan B, a plan C. Nobody thinks about a plan B and plan C, and that's why we end up powerless in negotiations, because if you really think about your anxiety pangs, where does your anxiety pangs come from? Because if I don't close this deal, what's going to happen to me? But what if you know that before you enter the negotiation? Get alternatives before you enter your client meet. At least you have a walkaway price. And once you have a walkaway price, you're going to be a very different person altogether. When I was at the Indian School of Business, right now I'm at Flame University. I was at the Indian School of Business for 15 years. So during placements, my students used to get very, very nervous. So I used to ask them, especially before day one companies come in, where is this anxiety coming from? Are you worried that marquee companies are not going to come? No, sir. Are you worried that you're not going to get the roles that, you desire? No, sir. What are you worried about? Sir, I'm worried that I will not get my market's worth. Okay, good point. Now, can we change your situation here? Can we do something to get you to be confident here? Yes, we can. Most of my students had 5 years of average work experience, which means they used to work for at least 2 companies or 3 companies or 4 companies before joining the Indian School of Business. Am I right? I asked them a simple question. Before you enter your placement interviews, call your previous organizations and ask them a simple question. With my investment in education, would you want me back? If yes, Can you make me an offer that I can consider? Imagine a student entering a placement interview without any backup plan, and another student entering this placement interview with one or two options at the back burner. Confidence is going to be at a very different level, isn't it? So please remember, make this the KRAs and KPIs of everyone in your company. Make this the org culture. Tell people, before you meet clients, before you go for the client meet, submit one piece of data to your supervisor. And what is the piece of data? If we don't have a deal, what are we going to do? Right? Now, if you create that culture, I'm telling you, everybody is going to be very, very confident. Right? So your power, your primary source of, we call this organization de-risking. A lot of you as an entrepreneur, you rely on just one person to manage your entire company. Then my question to them is, what if this person leaves your company? What are you going to do? Dishan, this will never happen. That's the overconfidence that I get worried about. You don't have a plan B. You don't have a plan C. Some of you, rely on one client to contribute to 70% of your revenue. My question to you is, what if this client goes away? What are you going to do? Oh, sir, you know what? You are very pessimistic. This will never happen. See, that's the attitude we have to change. I'm going to ask you, what if your spouse leaves you? I'm just joking, all right? That's the only part where you don't need an alternative. Your marriage, okay? Don't come and tell your spouse that Professor Kamdar taught me something about power and alternative. I'll get sued, okay? So please remember, besides your marriage, everything you do, think de-risking, have a P2, P3, P4 in whatever you do. That will make you very powerful, okay? Now, I think, yeah, all right. Now, alternatives gives you power. I just mentioned, this is Dishan, not that. Jagah to nahi hai. All right, your friends over there? Okay, I'm audible to all of you, right? Okay. Now, with alternative, your battery is only 50% charge. Your power meter is only 50% charge. Where does the other 50% of your power come from as a negotiator? We talk about planning, and you rightly said, right? Effective planning is the key. But when we plan, what do we plan for? 2 pieces of data. We've just discussed 1 piece of data. If there is no deal, what am I going to do? My alternative. Having alternatives makes me powerful, but it makes me only 50% powerful. Where does the other 50% of your power come from? Anybody? Again, round robin. Anybody? Yes, please. Sorry? Confidence? Not that, not there, yes. Trust in God. I love to be spiritual. I'm spiritual as well, but many times God wouldn't listen to me as well. But what else? Yes. So practice. Experience and knowledge. My past performance. Okay? Yes, please. Understand the counterparty's wants and needs. Okay, you're almost there. I'll take one more. Yes. Understanding my value proposition? No. Anyone? One more. One last attempt. My question is, where does the other 50% of my power come from? 50% comes from me having alternatives. Yes, please. My ability to deliver, my past performance, and my mastery in this product, maybe monopoly rights or whatever. Okay. So let me give you the answer right now. Again, all of you have given me wrong answers. And remember, today's session is all about common sense not being common. I'm not going to give you rocket science answers. 50% of the other 50% of your power comes from knowing their alternative. If there's no deal with you, what are they going to do? They're going to go to your competition 1. They are going to your competition 2. They are going to your competition number 3. Do you have tight market intelligence data? Do you have business intelligence data that confidently tells you that if you walk away from me and if you go to my competition number 2, this will be their quote. If you walk away from me, if you go to my competition number 3, this will be the competition's quote. Most organizations do not thrive on business intelligence data. And I have a big problem with that. You cannot be ahead of competition unless and until you know your competition. Pfizer, for example, has 500 people who are working full-time gathering competition data and feeding competition data to different divisions within Pfizer. How many people do you have dedicatedly sensitizing disruption, competition, and feeding competition data to different divisions within your company? If you don't have such a department, please create one such department. Because understanding your competition is shadowing you left, right, and center. Would you not agree? Today you close a deal, you have a non-disclosure agreement, which means you have to shut your lips and your client has to shut their lips. Within how many working days will your competition know the terms and conditions of your deal? You tell me. Is it a few months, a few weeks, a few days, a few hours? Right? They are shadowing you, please remember. So then what are you doing to shadow them? Right? So please remember, new organization culture from today in your respective companies. Force everyone to submit 2 pieces of data to your office before they meet clients. And what are the 2 pieces of data? Number 1, if we don't have a deal, what are we going to do? Which is my alternative. Second piece of data, if they don't have a deal with us, what are they going to do? Which is my competition data. Right? Thrive on analytics, thrive on this data, and you'll see renewed confidence within everyone within your company. You know, we take care of all the big things, but we've forgotten hygiene. Okay? So this is my second big message to you. The first was lateral influence. The second is about being powerful. All right? Now, my third piece of message to all of you is stop selling product, stop selling services, start selling value. Now you say, Dishan, we have heard about this 20,000 times. How do I teach you how to sell value, right? Now, should negotiation outcomes be win-win in nature? All of you, it's not a question to be asked, right? If I ask you to raise your hands, should outcomes be win-win? All of you, I think, would raise your hands, right? It's a no-brainer. Because if it is not win-win, I will not be able to incentivize you to come back and negotiate with me again. If it is win-lose, it becomes a spot transaction, correct? But what is win-win? No one will be able to give me the answer. How do we get win-win? What is win-win? Pick any negotiations book in the market. Pick any persuasion book in the market. Pick any influence book in the market. In the first page, you'll find the word win-win. Bold italic font 72. But no one has attempted to explain what is win-win, right? So I need to start this program by walking you through what win-win means. And I'm going to ask you a very simple, I'm going to walk you through a simple analogy. It's one of my favorite examples that I use in most of my classes, okay? I want all of you to imagine you've got 2 daughters, a younger daughter who's 5-year-old, elder daughter 7-year-old. One day they enter your kitchen looking for oranges, and unfortunately you only have 1 orange in your kitchen. Younger one tells older daughter, this is mine, sister, don't touch it. Elder tells younger one, you always have it your way, this is mine, you don't touch it. They start having a fight. Okay, they start having a fight amongst each other. They cannot resolve their dissonance. So they come to you as parents. You need to negotiate this deal for your kiddos. There's only 1 orange in your kitchen. Younger one says, this is mine, dad. Elder one says, this is mine, mom. It's a leadership call for all of you. Justice has to prevail. What would you do as parents? Anybody? By the way, this is a simple question, but one of the most important examples for today's session. What would you do? Anybody? Slice this into half. Make it a juice. I like your enthusiasm. She says, where's my juicer? She goes, gets a juicer and give them one pack each. I'm just joking, okay? So make a juice. But after you make a juice, how would you slice it? Half and half? So this is an enthu mother. This is a sadistic mother over there. You want to fight? None of you have it. Mom's having the orange. Watch me eat. All right. Yes? But you already made juice out of it. Okay, you want to change your answer? Okay, I'll come back to you later on. I'll swing back. Absolutely. Yes. I'll come back to you in 2 minutes. Again, you have given me the right answer. I'll come back to you. Yes, please. Right. This is provided you fulfill your promise in the past. I'm just joking. Right. All right. So, delayed gratification, you give one, I'll give you two later on. Yes, please. Who needs the orange juice and for what? You see the words here? You use the juice word first, later you backtrack. You use the juice word again. You see preconceived notions? We usually enter negotiations with a lot of preconceived notions. I know what you want. I don't have to ask you. I know it all. Right? Please remember. So this is my favorite question to all my students usually. All right? And I get a lot of answers, right from giving options, making them play games, buying a chocolate instead, throw the orange out, I eat the orange, okay? Very few. So she has given me the right answer, and her answer is, I will first ask them why you want the orange. I will not assume. Remove preconceived notions. If you want to sell value, you need to move from what you want to why you want. All right? If you ask your children, did it occur to any one of you except for her and a few to ask your daughters why you want the orange? No, you won't ask this question. Why? Because I know so. That is the problem. And we are the same people who keep cribbing, saying that the industry is moving so rapidly, the value propositions keep changing so rapidly, so the why your client wanted you 6 months ago would be very different than why your client wanted you 3 months ago, would be different than why your client wants you today. So unless and until you ask and understand the why behind the what, you will not be able to sell value. We always ask our clients what you want and the buck stops there. Create a culture that moves from what you want to why you want, and that's the heart of design thinking, isn't it? Design thinking, 5 days training program. Eventually, what do you learn? Empathic listening and understanding why. Okay? Now, if you would have asked your daughters, tell me why you want the orange before I make a judgment call, probably your younger daughter would say, Mom, Dad, I want the orange because I'm hungry. I want to eat the orange. Okay? At least you understood the value proposition before making the judgment call. You ask the same question to your elder daughter, why you want the orange? Chances are, your elder daughter would tell you, Mom, Dad, I want the orange because I'm baking an orange cake. And to bake an orange cake, I need the peel of the orange. So one daughter wants the entire peel, one daughter wants the entire pulp. Could you have created more value for both of them? That's my question, right? So win-win is not defined by how much you make vis-a-vis how much I make. No. Win-win is defined by our collective ability to create more value, right? I'm just scratching the surface here, but I can teach you how to create value, but I need 4 hours, right? So I'm just, giving you a 30,000, feet, analogy of different inputs, right? They are very important to be a good negotiator. Now, as an entrepreneur, so that's my third message to all of you, okay? So first message, let others do the talking on your behalf. Second message, be powerful. And the two things you need to be powerful. Remember, de-risk, right? Third message is, please ask the why behind the what. Why do you want? Keep asking why all the time. Don't just ask what. My fourth point is revolving around how small the world is and how it impacts us as entrepreneurs, how it impacts us as negotiators. How many of you have heard of this 6 degrees separation principle? Please raise your hands. Right? So a handful of you, around 20% of you. Now very quickly, there is empirical research that has established, just Google down 6 degrees of separation and you'll see a lot of research, a huge body of work, okay? Bottom line, 6 degrees of separation basically tells us that the world that we're living in is very small and there's a maximum of 6 degrees of separation between any two people in this world. So between me and you, I will know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone. 6 link, that person knows you. Right? Between you and him, for example. Now, this research has been established and has been proven to us that we are living in a global village where everyone is connected to everybody. And the maximum link is 6 degrees, okay? I have a problem with that research. According to me, the world that we live in is much smaller. According to me, 95% of the times, there is a maximum of 4 degrees of separation between any two strangers in this world. And I'm just not going to say this, I'm going to prove this to you right now. And I would request someone over there to just show the website, please. So I'm going to show you a website called the Oracle of Bacon. Yes. Okay, fine. So we know this gentleman, most of us quite familiar. Right, Kevin Bacon, a very famous Hollywood star. Now, I love this website. This website contains a rich repository of the names of all the actors and actresses in this world, okay? We're going to play a very simple game. And the game requires you to prove me wrong. My theory is 95% of the times, 4 degrees of separation, all right? And you're going to disprove my hypothesis. Now, you're going to give me 2 names, all right? So given that we are in India, I'll use a name of an actor or actress from the audience who's from Hollywood. And we have a diverse cultural, attendees out here. Any non-Indian, give me a name of an actor or actress from your country, okay? And I'll prove to you that within 4 degrees of separation, they are linked, 95% of the times. I want to show you how small the world is. Then I'm going to tell you implications to all of us as entrepreneurs. Let's start. Any Hollywood name, please. Anybody, Hollywood name. Salman Khan. Can anyone just put in Salman Khan? With whom? Any actor, actress from Saudi or from Africa, from any part? Yes. Nasir? Okay, Nasir. Nassir. ALQ. So I just need a name of an actor or actress. So how do I spell it? Al-Q. Qasir. Quas. ABY. Can you click enter, please? Find link. Maybe it's the wrong spelling? Remove the Q. Remove the U. QUA. QA. Yeah, remove the U. Enter. Click the, yes. 6 degrees of separation. I said 95% of the time, so this is the 5%. But the point here is, I can't read. So Nasir was in that maybe Arabic movie, I assume, with Elham Ali. Nasir knows Elham, Elham knows this person knows this person knows this person, this person knows Salman Khan. It's a global world that we are connected. Okay? Now, one more try. I'll give you one more. Maybe Hollywood, Bollywood. Because I failed in the Middle Eastern country. I don't want to fail second time. All right, give me any Hollywood and Bollywood. Yes. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt with whom? Rajnikant. Okay, Rajnikant and Brad Pitt. Find link. The first Rajnikant, I think. Okay. First one? Or the second one? No, can you go back? Maybe it's the first Rajnikant. Okay, so maybe you can just type Rajnikant again. Yeah. Find link. All right. 2 degrees of separation. So Rajnikant was in this movie called Andha Kanun with this actor called Danny. Danny was in this movie 7 years in Tibet with this actor called Brad Pitt. Brad knows Danny, who knows Rajnikant, right? Yeah. You want to just, I've got 4 minutes, right? So I won't give you one more try. But I hope you got the point that I'm trying to make. You want to just give it a shot one more time? Okay, just give me 2 names quickly. So this website has a database of people from the same industry. And that's why I won't, but research have shown this is generalizable. If you look at LinkedIn research, if you look at social media research, they find this, you'll get the same findings, right? The point that I want to make here is, we talk about the small world all the time, but we don't have a clue how small the world is. Given that we are entrepreneurs working in this small world, what are the 3 takeaways for us? Given that the world is very small, takeaway number 1, there is no such thing as a short-term transaction. Always think win-win. Always think long-term. Always think relationship. Always think goodwill creation. The world is very, very small. People talk to each other. Everyone knows each other here. So takeaway number 1, we as entrepreneurs, the world is very small. Always think win-win, always think long-term, always think relationships, always think goodwill creation. Takeaway number 2, the world is very, very small. Is there such thing as a secret? Can anybody in this room keep a secret? Right? So please remember, there are no such things as a secret. So don't tell your clients, special deal only for you. They will have a record of all the other deals. The world is very, very small. Here's a project for all of you. Pull your networks together, pull your resources together, figure out my salary as the Vice Chancellor of Flame University by tomorrow 5 o'clock. Can you not get this data if you want? Please don't. I need some space. Right? All I'm saying is, don't tell me, hey Dishan, I can't get this data. World is very, very small. You can get whatever data you want, including competition data. But I'll buy the argument that I don't have hunger to collect data. Yes, I'll buy that argument, but don't tell me I cannot collect this data. If anyone in your company says, I cannot collect this data, show them Oracle or Bacon. Show them how small the world is. There's no such thing as I can't get this data. I'm obviously ethical means I'm talking about, collecting data. That's the second takeaway. Third takeaway, the world is very, very small. Please remember, don't burn bridges with anybody. As entrepreneurs, you cannot afford to do that. If you burn bridges with someone, you are not only burning bridges with them, you are burning bridges with that network that you might need at some point. So I burn bridges with you, and I don't need to meet you anymore in my life. I'm perfectly fine. But I need to meet him who happens to be good friends of him. He won't give a good reference. And remember, the world is very small. We are all interconnected. So never ever burn bridges as a thumb rule. So as a good negotiator, you also need to emotionally regulate your emotions. All right? Separate the person from the problem. Don't ever let the person become the problem. Many times we say no because of the person, not the problem. Right? A good negotiator separates the person from the problem. I can regulate my emotions, and henceforth I can take more rational decisions. Right? Well, I just have 21 seconds left, and I don't want to take time from my next speaker. Well, I'm a professor, I can go on, and as I said, this is such a fascinating topic. I need at least 2 full days to do justice, in a training program. But I hope, whatever, 45 minutes, whatever information I can provide you, you found it to be useful and you'll implement that in your entrepreneurial life. And I wish you all the very, very best. So thank you for having me here. Thank you.
I want to thank Dr. Kamdar for that class. Do we agree that was a value add for this session? Some nodding, yes? Okay. I'm sure you're going to rush off to the private jet that they've chartered for you because you negotiated really well. Okay. But thank you very much. Very much appreciate the session. Great. And do we have a gift for Dr. Kamdar? Yes. Okay. Okay, want to make sure. Rahul? Please. Sorry, Dishan?